Alright, how's it going guys? Digiticos here, and today we're going to talk about Flutterpage, a newly released 6-star character on 2.3, a genuinely great support overall thanks to her unique force field mechanic, which we'll be talking about in the video. Because of this, we're going to talk about Flutterpage, how good she is, and also how to play her, covering everything you need to know about Flutterpage, her best Psyhcube, teammates, portrait, and much more. With that being said, let's get right into it. Alright, starting things off, what does Flutterpage actually do? Firstly, Flutterpage's force field is going to be the main part of her kit. Despite of the many attacks on her kit, it is actually quite straightforward. Thanks to her insight and skills, we know that she gains a stack of gust whenever A, she uses her first skill, B, after any ally attacks in action, any action, be it by casting an incantation or doing a follow-up attack, and C, the first time she enters battle. Depending on how many stacks of gust she has on her, at the start of the round, she will destroy any force field that exists and create a new one. This is why accumulating gust is especially important on her, because the more stacks of gust you have, stronger the force field is going to be. There are 3 types of force field that she can generate: 5 or more stacks of gust, she gains Pepper Parade; at 15 or more stacks of gust, she gains a Wave of Sheep; and at 25 stacks or more, she gains Adieu Mother Earth. Now there's not a lot of difference on attacks here, save for the additional attacks and follow-up damage buff. For each stack of gust she's carrying, Adieu Mother Earth force field grants the entire team follow-up attack damage and Genesis damage increase by 2%, while also making it always lands a critical hit, which is omega strong, with additional damage and Genesis damage equal to the character's critical rate times critical damage minus 100%. Suffice to say that not only is Flutterpage a generally great support, she's also especially great when paired with a follow-up damage dealer. Alright, now that we've covered her main mechanic, let's talk about her skills. Her ultimate, A Dream That Never Grows Old, allows her to enter a self-channel state, recovers all Eureka, converts all own incantations to Regards from the Sky, and casts all if able. When channeling ends, grants Moxie +1 or 2 or 3 based on the current gust force field. So while channeling, at the end of the round if she's able, she will transform all of her incantation to Regards from the Sky and cast them. Her skill 1, Knock Knock, is an attack skill that deals mass attack damage. That deals reality damage to 2 enemies while also granting her 2 stacks of gust. And lastly, her skill 2, Cotton Kite, is an attack skill that deals single target reality damage. It also grants her continuous action buff. Now her skill 2 is quite unique, as she is so far in the game the only character that can give you extra action point. This arguably will make some people debate on whether she's a broken character or not. While I also think that this mechanic is really good, it's not to the extent of game breaking that it will make this character breeze the entire game. Extra action point is really good because that will simply mean more Moxie for your team, more action to deal damage on the round where your characters are at their strongest while the enemy is at their weakest point. However, despite the overwhelming advantage you get, the extra action point buff is just a mediocre single target attack skill that doesn't have a great multiplier. So on that note, while getting an extra point is nice, it doesn't really give much value outside of teams that can take advantage of it really well. Well, speaking of teams, let's talk about her best teams. In Reverse 1999, for the most part, team building is a very nuanced topic because it heavily depends on which type of enemy you are fighting. However, generally a team consists of 1 sustain, at least 1 support, and a damage dealer, with the last slot being flexible, dependent on what the team needs or lack. For Flutterpage, you will want a team that are built specifically around her force field mechanic, so you will want at least 1 follow-up unit. The follow-up unit could be 37, Lilia, Windsong, Samawise, and even Argus as the main damage dealer if you will it. Against enemies without immunity to control, you can even run a no sustain team, porting Flutterpage, Anjanala enablers such as Lilia, Windsong, or even Mercuria and Argus. Outside of follow-up teams, you can still run her on riposte teams. I'm not entirely sure whether riposte counts as an extra action or not, but she's still giving an additional 15% reality damage bonus with an additional 15% to the main target, which is really nice. Now that we've covered her teams, let's talk about her Psyhcube. Her best in slot will be on the Hands of Time. It is available on the Fragment Shop for you to buy. It's a nice damage boost on her personal damage, giving her up to 28% penetration rate, also up to 36% crit damage buff. With that being said, if most of your team damage doesn't come from her, it's totally fine to not invest heavily on her Psyhcube and give her the already available Psyhcube you have on your account. If you put her together on a team with Mercuria, another story will be nice additional damage boost on her. If you have a debuffer on your team, Blasphemer on the Night is also a fine option. Falling for a Sweet Phenomenon is a fantastic 5-star option as well. Alright, with that out of the way, let's talk about her portrait. There are two main things that I want to talk about her. Firstly, it's her first portrait. Cotton Kite at rank 1, 2, or 3, reality damage increases to 150%, 225%, and 375%. This doesn't really matter. What matters most is the continuous action duration increases to 2 rounds. So instead of only gaining an extra action point for the next round only, you gain another extra action point for the round after that. This arguably is the best portrait in the game. I would say being neck and neck when compared to Anjanal's portrait too. While having only 1 extra point is already good, getting 2 is just outwardly broken. So yeah, it's a very good portrait that enables her team and herself even more, since the more of her team takes an action, the more gust she'll have. With that being said, she's fine as she is without portrait. As always, I will never recommend anyone to pull duplicates for a character solely for the reason of making that character stronger. You should only pull for dupes if you like character or you just want to pull them. And lastly, her portrait tree, I Can Fly. Moxie gain when entering battle increases to 3, Gust stacks to 20, and the damage bonus from Wave of Sheets and Adieu Mother Earth and her force field increases to 2.5%. So this essentially means not only her damage buff gets an increase, she immediately starts the battle with a level 2 force field, allowing her teammates to get the follow-up attack damage buff on round 1. Pretty good portrait that enables her to clear the stage faster. So yeah, overall, Flutterpage is a support slash sub DPS character that I'm very happy with. Great without any portrait and without a lot of investment, and not someone you absolutely need to get. Her value depends on your teams and stuff, but if you're looking for a strong support for your follow-up team, I'd recommend getting Flutterpage as a good option. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If there's anything I want to add or any correction, I will add them in the pinned comment. Anyways, I hope this guide was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.